Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like someone was trying to get your attention, but they never actually said a word? In this video, I'm going to go through 12 ways they're secretly trying to get you to notice them without speaking. And let me warn you, some of these are so subtle, you might be completely missing them. Whether it's a coworker, a friend, or someone across the room, these behaviors aren't random. They're calculated moves that speak louder than words. Let's dive right in, and by the end, you'll never miss these signals again. 1. The sudden appearance effect. You might not realize it, but when someone suddenly shows up in spaces you frequent, it's not a coincidence. Think about it. You've been going to the same coffee shop for weeks, and now they're there too. Or you've noticed them conveniently bumping into you in places you'd least expect. This isn't fate, it's intention. They're strategically placing themselves in your proximity because they want to be seen. Psychologists call this the mere exposure effect. The more we see someone, the more likely we are to feel familiar and comfortable around them. They're playing on this principle, hoping that their consistent presence will make you notice them and think, wow, we're always in the same place. But here's the kicker. It's a calculated move. They're not stalking you. They're making sure they're in your orbit long enough for you to start paying attention. The next time someone seems to accidentally show up wherever you go, take a moment to ask yourself if it's truly a coincidence. Because most of the time, it's not. They're silently vying for your acknowledgement, even if they never muster the courage to say a word. 2. Amplified body language. Body language doesn't lie, and someone trying to get your attention without speaking knows this all too well. They might stand taller when you're around, exaggerate their gestures, or even lean in closer than necessary. These subtle shifts are their way of saying, "Look at me," without ever opening their mouth. A classic example is mirroring. This is when someone subconsciously copies your posture, movements, or gestures. It's a psychological phenomenon that signals attraction and a desire for connection. If you cross your arms and they do the same, it's not just mimicry. It's their subconscious trying to build rapport. Another telltale sign? Open body language. They'll angle their body toward you, stand with their shoulders back, and avoid crossing their arms, all to appear more inviting. Watch for these cues because they're not random. The exaggerated laugh, the frequent hair touch, or the way they seem to perk up when you're around? That's all intentional. And if you're ignoring these signals, you're likely missing out on someone trying their hardest to capture your attention without uttering a single word. 3. The social media signal. In today's world, attention isn't always sought in person. Social media has become a playground for silent communication, and they're using it to their advantage. If they're consistently liking your posts, commenting on your stories, or even leaving subtle emojis, don't brush it off as casual interaction. It's a calculated effort to stay on your radar. One of the most telling signs is the strategic like, when they go back and like posts from months or years ago. This isn't an accident. It's a deliberate move to remind you of their existence. Similarly, if they're one of the first to view your stories or leave comments that seem just a little too thoughtful, they're trying to make an impression. Social media has given people a way to communicate interest without risking rejection, and many take full advantage of it. The next time someone's social media activity around you seems excessive or calculated, don't ignore it. They're not just scrolling mindlessly, they're hoping you'll notice their silent efforts to connect. 4th, subtle competition. Have you ever noticed someone suddenly stepping up their game when you're around? Maybe they start talking louder in a group, showing off a skill, or even boasting about their achievements. This isn't arrogance. It's a subtle form of competition designed to grab your attention. They're trying to make themselves stand out in the most indirect way possible. Competition is a basic human instinct, and when someone's interested in you, they'll subconsciously or consciously compete for your attention. Whether it's telling a more exciting story, cracking a clever joke, or even outperforming others in a casual setting, their goal is to make you notice them above everyone else. But here's the twist. They're doing this without ever directing it at you. It's a roundabout way of saying, "Look at what I can do," while maintaining plausible deniability. The key is to notice the change in their behavior when you're present versus when you're not. If their energy shifts dramatically whenever you're around, they're competing for your attention, even if they'll never admit it. 5. The helper tactic. When words fail, actions speak. One of the most common ways people try to get your attention is by offering help, even when you didn't ask for it. They'll volunteer to assist with tasks, fix something for you, or simply make your life easier in any way they can. This isn't just about being nice, it's about being noticed. Psychologically, this stems from a desire to feel needed. By positioning themselves as your go-to person for help, they're hoping you'll see their value and appreciate their efforts. Whether it's fixing your computer, carrying heavy bags, or offering advice, their actions are a silent plea for recognition. Pay attention to who's always eager to lend a hand. It's not random. They're hoping their selfless acts will stand out and make you think of them as someone reliable and indispensable. And if you're not noticing it yet, trust me, they're waiting for the moment when you finally do. 6. Frequent coincidences. Coincidences are rarely as innocent as they seem. When someone is trying to get your attention without speaking, they'll orchestrate scenarios that make it seem like fate keeps throwing you together. Running into them multiple times in a week, showing up at the same events, those aren't accidents. Psychologically, people use these manufactured coincidences to create a sense of connection. If they're always where you are, they're planting the idea that you're somehow aligned in life. It's subtle but effective, and most of the time, you'll chalk it up to chance without realizing the effort they're putting in to make it happen. The next time someone seems to always be in the right place at the right time, think twice. They might be working harder than you think to stay in your orbit and catch your attention. 7. Overly animated reactions. Whether it's laughing a little too hard at your jokes, reacting dramatically to something you say, or emphasizing their expressions around you, exaggerated reactions are a telltale sign of someone trying to stand out. They want you to notice how much they're paying attention to you. This tactic is rooted in a psychological need to validate your presence. By reacting in a way that's impossible to ignore, they're ensuring that their attention feels unmistakable. They're saying, "You matter," without saying a word. Notice who reacts differently when you're around. If their responses seem over the top compared to how they interact with others, it's not just enthusiasm, it's a calculated move to keep your eyes on them. 8. The silent proximity game. Sometimes they don't need to do anything except be close. This is the classic proximity game, where someone positions themselves near you repeatedly, hoping their mere presence will get your attention. Sitting near you in meetings, standing close at events, or always choosing the seat next to yours, these aren't random choices. Humans are naturally drawn to what's familiar, and proximity increases familiarity. By staying close to you, they're hoping you'll start noticing them and feeling more comfortable around them. It's a subtle but powerful way to grab attention without making a scene. Pay attention to who always seems to be nearby. It's not just chance, it's strategy. 9. The change in style. Sometimes they'll try to grab your attention by completely changing their appearance. Maybe it's a new haircut, dressing sharper, or wearing a fragrance that turns heads. These changes aren't random. They're carefully chosen to make sure you notice them. It's a nonverbal way of saying, "I'm worth your attention." This tactic taps into basic psychology. When someone suddenly becomes more visually striking, it triggers a shift in perception. You might not consciously connect the dots, but the change makes them stand out. They know that by looking their best, they're creating a reason for you to pay attention. Next time someone shows up looking noticeably different, don't just assume it's for them. They're hoping it's for you. 10. The long stare. Eye contact is powerful. When someone keeps holding your gaze just a little too long or looks at you when they think you're not paying attention, it's not an accident. A lingering look is a silent message, and often it's louder than words. People use prolonged eye contact as a way to build tension and make a connection. It's intimate without being invasive, and it creates a sense of curiosity. Why are they looking at you like that? Are they interested? They're hoping you'll notice and start wondering. If you catch someone staring and then quickly looking away, it's not shyness. It's their attempt to communicate something they can't bring themselves to say. Pay attention, their eyes are doing the talking. 11th, creating opportunities for interaction. Sometimes they'll go out of their way to manufacture a moment where they can interact with you. Maybe they drop something in your path, ask a question they already know the answer to, or conveniently need help with something you're good at. These setups are their way of forcing an encounter without directly initiating it. This is a classic tactic because it works. By creating a scenario where you're the one to respond, they're breaking the ice in a way that feels natural. They're hoping the small moment will lead to something bigger. If you notice someone constantly finding reasons to interact, don't ignore it. They're not just being resourceful, they're trying to get closer. 12th, the silent supporter. Finally, they'll try to get your attention by being your quiet cheerleader. Whether it's celebrating your achievements, standing up for you in a group, or showing consistent admiration, their support is a subtle but powerful way to show they care. This tactic works because it creates a sense of reliability. By being your silent champion, they're positioning themselves as someone you can count on. They're hoping you'll notice their loyalty and recognize the effort they're putting in. Next time someone goes out of their way to have your back, don't overlook it. Their silent support is often the loudest declaration of interest. If you have made it this far, let us know what you think in the comment section below. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now. Thanks for watching.